and welcome to episode 4 of Following Freak Show, a show dedicated to discussing last night's episode of American Horror Story Freak Show. It's Halloween tomorrow, so we figured there's no better time to bust out the Google effects. This is kind of like my Meep commemorative type thing, if we can even call it that. I'm your moderator, Perry Nemroff. Check out what our other panelists are wearing.
Hello, I'm Alexis Sarala.
Hi, I'm Meg Patterson, aka Bearded Lady.
Hello, I'm like reverse twisty. Maybe there's nothing under my forehead. Sasha Capelli.
Alright, so in episode 4, Edward Mordrake Part 2, the legend Edward Mordrake is still on the hunt for a pure freak to add to his collection, and during that search we get loads of backstory on a number of our favorite characters. So that's where we're going to start this week's discussion. Sasha, do you want to jump into some of those flashbacks?
Sure. We had I think a total of 4 flashbacks yesterday, and I really wish it was like the second episode because I am now so obsessed with all the stories. They were so good like with Susie. Start with her. She was a wonderful, wonderful actress. The way she portrayed everything was like so sad yet not so sad. She stabbed some legs back in the day. She wishes she had legs, so she kind of just chopped off the legs she couldn't have, which was...
I love when you say that so casually. She just
chopped off some legs. Chopped some legs. I mean, compared to
she killed the guy, though. I think she stabbed him in the leg, and then he dies.
And it was nice. It was a nice, and yeah, it was a nice, it was a nice scene because she's just so. I didn't expect her voice. I mean, I saw her for her little singlet, but I thought maybe her voice would be a little bit deeper. So I was like, oh, cool. She sounds like a little adorable girl. So that was really cool, and I was glad she didn't go. Twisty, what's his name? Mordrake did not take her.
But how vicious was it when she tried to run away and he just grabbed her?
Oh, I know. That was a little
vicious.
I actually loved Mordrake the entire. I wanted to see more of his backstory because he was great. Then we have
Paul the Illustrated Seal.
Paul the Illustrated. Now his was great because he seemed to be a little bit terrified but kind of ready to go because I feel like he believes in Mordrake's legend even more, so he was kind of like, all right, don't take me, but take me because I know I have to go anyway. But what did he do now? What did Paul the
He didn't do anything. He just he was just an outcast and then loved the movies, so came to America.
That's what I thought. He was just kind of into the whole deal, right?
And there was that whole thing about they wanted a monster, so I'll give him a monster, and that's what he got, his whole body, but not his face tattooed.
No, yeah.
Handsome face,
and he actually does have a handsome face. He knew he wouldn't get anywhere else with the way that he looked, so he knew that he would be accepted, which I love the concept of. That's my favorite freak concept.
Can you imagine this mug on a normal body? I could have ruled the world.
Oh, I love it. But I really like how he's just like, I'm a freak and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to scare the crap out of everyone. Now, then we get to oh man, these last 2 flashbacks they're weird because Elsa's flashback, we think she's going to die. We think she's going to be the one because she seems like the true freak. But we still kind of don't really know because is she even evil? Is she even mean? So her backstory was okay, so you worked in a brothel, you made a snuff film, and...
Well, it was made to her, let's be clear. That was awful.
It was forced on her.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really even her sin. It wasn't even her, evil deed or whatever, but she is pretty ashamed of having a snuff film made with her, and her legs were violently ripped off.
I think, in her case... Her evil is almost that she won't embrace that she's a freak. She's still in denial. The way she said, "I'm their guardian. I take care of them." And Mordrake was like, "No."
He was like, "No, man." I love how she went into this whole if we're going to work together, we're going, and she goes on and on this whole monologue, and he's
so
just
delusional.
And he had the best line there too because I was like, it's finally time. Someone that just says this. It's it is not your talent that renders me speechless. It is your delusional ignorance.
Yeah, you're delusional.
Thank God, because at the very beginning we got super strong and mother-like Elsa, and then after that she's like ready to throw all the freaks under the bus so she could be a Hollywood star. I mean, come on, how naive are you?
Yeah, and it's like she was. Yeah, that's the thing. She's so naive and she's so vain at the same time. So it was like kind of nice for him to like. It was like when he was sitting there, he was like, "I'm here to make you confess your sins, so not here to work with the freak." So it was nice to finally see her like open up, and I don't know if she was humbled by the whole experience. I hope she was.
Well, I was hoping that she was going to learn a lesson, and that when we would see her again, she'd be nice to the freaks. But then she sees Bet and Dot, and she's like, "Yeah, screw you guys, you're not the headliners anymore."
Exactly.
And then Dennis O'Hare comes in, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm a big Hollywood agent." And she's like, "I love you. Let's own you a scene." So did you learn nothing from all this in your life?
Exactly.
And like I would like to think she's savvy enough not to be like fooled by the like not to be like Hollywood agent. I'm gonna be a star, but
she's so delusional. She's fooled by everyone. She was fooled by the fortune teller last week. I mean,
she's naive. So then we get to Twisty, which is actually like I was off. I thought I was kind of off. He's kind of a rejected freak, but not really. We were kind of on point when we said all he really wanted to do was entertain.
Mm-hmm.
All he wanted to do is just be a clown. But he was kind of like, he's the simpleton clown, and all the freaks made fun of him, which is obviously like a total twist of things because usually the freaks are the ones being made fun of. That's why they have their whole little home base to go to at the freak show. And Twisty didn't know that was even a thing. And now, by this time, he's bitter because he was made fun of so much. And lost the bottom of his face.
Trying to kill himself. That was so sad.
I couldn't believe he did it to himself. I was sure that someone else was going to be responsible for that. But
it makes it even worse. Like, that's a true freak. When you can't even manage to kill yourself, you are going to be an outsider forever. So he was just so sad telling the story. Like, it did break my heart. And it was kind of my favorite moment of the entire show, is just to see Twisty, like, without his face, just this, like, discuss this to Edward Mordrake, who was, I again think was amazing. Like, he just, like, he kicked all the asses as that character.
Yeah, Wes Bentley really holds the episode together very well.
Oh yeah, it was great.
I was kind of glad that we ended up with that sort of structure after the episode before was so all over the place.
Yeah.
I was kind of okay where it ended up, because it's like, he didn't actually end up being some, like, sort of scary villain that I was hoping for at the beginning, but he did serve the whole show very well in the end. So, no complaints.
No, not at all. Those backstories were totally satisfactory in, like, the way they were delivered. It was cool that it wasn't just, like, a flashback. It was cool that he was talking to them about it and kind of relieving them of their shame and letting them know that it's okay to be freaks. And Twisty's was just great, because we found out that it actually was not like induced by somebody else, or not. He wasn't rejected because he was too much of a freak. He was actually just trying to fit in. And the freaks were the ones that said, no, thank you.
Were you guys surprised that he left the show so soon?
Yeah, I totally was.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought there'd be more clown murders. Well, I guess
I'm, like, a little disappointed, because I feel like if they would have taken it a little slower and kind of peeled back the layers, that could have been really interesting. But then again, based on the point that Mordrake makes at the end of it, it seems like that would have been fruitless if that was the character we were getting from the start, where, you know, no matter what he did, he was never going to recognize that it was bad. And actually, that's probably one of my favorite parts of this episode, is the Edward Mordrake lesson that we learn at the end. Alexis, you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, well, it was very interesting because the whole time he was looking for a true freak and someone, it seemed, who had sinned, that he was going to join his group of dead freaks that I guess rove around through hell. I'm not exactly sure. And so he's looking for, it seems like he's looking for someone who's done something bad, and it seemed like everyone else was repentant for their sins, and even Elsa begging him to take her, like, that just was a turn off, I guess. And then he finds Twisty, who doesn't even realize that he's sinning, although maybe deep down he does, but he keeps having that line, I'm not a bad person. He's kept saying that over and over, and And Edward Mordrake's seemed almost like fascinated by the fact that the darkness was not recognized in him, and that was I don't have the exact quote, but it was something like that. Those that don't see the darkness inside themselves, I think he said.
I tried writing it down, and I don't think I was able to hear the last part of his sentence.
Yeah.
The blackness in your heart.
The blackness,
that was the thing.
He wasn't recognizing the blackness in his own heart, which is interesting because I think it also is pointing to the way that the townspeople don't recognize how they're being the blackness in their heart towards the freaks, and and Elsa doesn't recognize that she herself is a freak. It's all about, I think, finding yourself and like the self-discovery stuff.
So maybe him taking Twisty is a hint that everyone who's left has the potential. Elsa, speaking of Elsa, to find the blackness in her heart.
Right.
And realize that she's screwing big time.
Yes. And it's almost like he has his own little band of like freaks, like hell freaks or whatever. So it was almost when he took Twisty, it almost felt to me like a relief. Like Twisty is so tortured in real life, living his like freak non-freak life, that now he can finally be accepted by being like the true ignorant, like blissfully ignorant, evil that he's become.
That's true. He never would have gotten satisfaction. It didn't matter how many kids he snatched, and even with Dandy kind of befriending him, I mean, he was never going to be happy.
No.
And now we'll get to find out if Dandy is the real freak.
Oh God. I think he is. I mean, was John Carroll Lynch's name ever on the title credits?
It was in the afterwards, like when the first.
So he's in the
special guest.
Because I don't know why I was so surprised that he was killed off so quickly. Because I guess if he's a guest, still a guest star, I guess, then that obviously hinted at that. So maybe because Finn Wittrock, Jesus, I'll never be able to say his name on the first try. I will always reverse letters. Finn Wittrock is in the title credit sequence. So maybe he's going to be the villain of the season? I don't know.
Maybe.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the ending of this episode, because it's a big, big game changer for the Freak Show. Meg, do you want to touch on that a bit?
Yeah, sure thing. So the Freak Show, the whole scene when they had the townspeople coming in and appreciating them, it was really nice for a minute, and then it just got to be almost uncomfortable and contrived, and I'm almost wondering if they did that on purpose and took it a little bit too far. But then we have the Freak Collector come in, and he's going to be the fake Hollywood guy, so I'm wondering where they're going to take that. And then finally Dandy, we see what happens with him. He finally snaps and kills Patti LaBelle. So I was a little pissed about that, but that means maybe her daughter.
Seriously, Gabrielle Sidibe is coming in.
She needs to.
Yeah.
Someone said something about the maid ghost coming back and trying to teach Dandy a lesson, but I'm kind of hoping that
maybe
Twisty
with the
isn't
song.
done. Yeah, she has to sing. Episode, but I'm wondering if Twisty doesn't come back and try to, pay it back to Dandy, and he'll have his final, take him with him kind of a thing.
I get the feeling like that's the end of Twisty, unfortunately, because I wanted more of him. But I think they might have played up the ending in this episode with the townspeople coming to celebrate the freaks a little bit more, because if Dandy is still out there and now he's running around with Twisty's face on, then all of a sudden the cops, if he does keep kidnapping and killing people, the cops are going to be like, you screwed something up. You guys manipulated this situation to make us believe that the killer was gone, and then she's gonna decimate the Freak Show.
But they did tell the cops there was a second killer. I mean, they were.
Yeah,
that is all right. That's totally fair. Yeah, they do know he ran away.
Right. I love Jimmy as the hero when he told the kids to run, and then that was a great moment. And then at the end when the guy shook his hand, his freak hand, that was very. Yeah.
Did you guys notice this is going to sound so ridiculous, but when Maggie was sitting in the car and the cop came over and passed her a coffee cup, with a black top hat on it, and I don't know if this was just a stupid thing that I picked up on, but the shot was sitting on that cup for some
for a while.
I feel like that means something. I feel like that's hints. Actually, speaking of hints, we got a comment on last week's episode that pointed out something really interesting. So the commenter's name was Eve Donovan, and she noted that, you remember when they said that the title sequence was going to have clues in it?
Yeah.
The twins in the title sequence passing their heads back and forth, So she predicts that Bet and Dot are going to switch personalities.
Oh.
I honestly don't know how that's going to work because we know who's on what side.
Right.
There could be some sort of play on that, and I find the idea very interesting.
I mean, it would actually be more plausible than like. See, like I was glad that Elsa's backstory and everything panned out because Elsa's character, I got a truth bomb right now, is really getting on my nerves. Like I'm not like it's kind of taking me out a little bit because I care so much about the other characters and I don't know how to feel about Elsa. Like I want to be like, oh, she's being bitchy to the rest of her freaks, but oh, she actually is a freak, so maybe we should empathize with her. But oh, she's actually like I don't think we should not like her only because in the first episode they established she was kind of mother hen. So when she's handing knives to Bet and Dot, like just expecting them to chop each other's head off, you know, like that. So that just annoys me as like a general rule. So I really hope they get that figured out, or else I'm gonna not like Elsa's character. I'm gonna decide.
Right.
But that said, it makes it more plausible when to come between the twins personality-wise rather than physically, like they're not going to chop off one of their heads. They need each other to survive. So maybe it'll like be something personality-wise, or
maybe. Well, it's just her obsession with fame is taking over everything, I guess, and it's going to lead her to make more bad decisions, like with Mr. Hollywood guy.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bad decisions to come with that part.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into rapid fire time, the point in the show when we get to discuss what we're looking forward to most in the episode to come. I've kind of touched on mine, but I mean, obviously I'm kind of obsessed with Dandy. He's one of my favorite characters, even though I think his thing is getting a little repetitive. I've had enough temper tantrums, and what does he shout all the time? Now I'm already forgetting.
Halloween, I hate you.
I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. Grow up, man. But I'm just really curious to see how they transition him, and if they transition him, into the new Twisty, because, I mean, I don't think any season of American Horror Story has ever had just one villain. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know why I was surprised that this happened, but I kind of want to see Dandy step up and be the main bad guy. I'm really looking forward to that. I think there's a lot to explore with that character, and maybe that's what I was looking for in Twisty, and I'm going to get it Dandy instead, and that's totally cool. Meg, what do you got? What are you looking forward to most?
I mean, I read way too much into the previews, and they showed Dandy covered in blood, and we still haven't seen that yet, but he's, like, shown in next week's preview saying, we got to hide the evidence, and poor Gloria's racing around screaming. So I'm looking forward to what they do with that whole thing. And then Del the Strongman, we barely saw him last week, and then last night, and then he comes out, and he almost looks suspicious when the townspeople are all celebrating.
Also, because that music was so heavy-handed. It's like, cue the scary music, and then there's Del.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope they do something with him, though, because we haven't seen any strongman stuff yet. So maybe that'll be next week, and they'll show why he was suspicious. So that's it for me.
Alexis, what do you got?
Well, I guess I'm really interested in Bet and Dot, and again, looking at some of the previews, it looks like they're going to have some. They're going to be taken in by the Hollywood guy as well, so I'm curious with the Freak Collector where that's going. And then I'm also curious about Emma Roberts' character, if she's going to now have a change of heart, because she, at first was like grossed out by the freaks, but now, like, she's got growing a thing for Jimmy, and like seeing the freaks for who they really are. That would be a nice twist, I think.
What about you, Sasha?
I'd like to see. I mean, I love all these backstories. It's really, really, it's really helping me like get into the show because I'm caring about them. So I don't really know how many we would get left because we kind of know mostly everybody's backstory. But I wouldn't mind a couple more flashbacks. That would be cool. But like in terms of like murder and killing and stuff, I want Betty and Dot to mess up Emma Roberts somehow because I feel like she's just perfect looking and she's gonna come into the story and make everybody like jealous of her, especially with her interest in Jimmy, and we all know one of them has something for Jimmy and the other one doesn't, and there's already like a conflict between them, so I feel like a three-way cat fight might be just what I need.
I like that. All right, so that is a wrap on Following Freak Show Episode 4. Don't forget to keep an eye out for new installments the day after every episode of American Horror Story airs on Collider, and also on our YouTube channel, Shock Till You Drop, and we love reading your comments, so feel free to leave your thoughts on the episode in the comments section below, and maybe we'll discuss your topics on next week's show. So thanks so much for following Freak Show with us. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time.
Happy Halloween!
Happy
Happy Halloween.
I nailed it.